Hello Taurus, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We will be pulling for all three sides of this connection, so we'll have your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story, so we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section is looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation, if anything, and leave what does not. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Taurus, let's jump on in. Let's start with the energy on your side of this connection. This is for Taurus's energy toward the person they are currently dealing with, needing to learn from this time. Whoa, 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 whoa. Codependency, confusion, drama. Okay. And then you have shattered on the bottom here. So I feel like overall, this is the card that really stands out the most to me, this confusion card. And I feel like this is where you really stand in this connection. I feel like there is this desire for it to work, but also this just like feeling as if nothing that you can do can make it better. And I think that that's what's really hard about this. This codependency card is sometimes this tendency to try to take charge or responsibility for somebody else's journey, for somebody else's healing journey or growth journey, or just path in general. And sometimes this can really get us into trouble whenever we feel as if the way that somebody is acting is not only not good for us, but not good for them either. And it's like, well, if they would just see these things, or if they would just make these changes, like not only could this connection work, but they could be happier too. And that makes it really hard when you love and care about someone to really get to this place of detachment. Now, this drama card here, I feel like you've in this connection had to kind of put this mask on and pretend that everything is okay, or pretend that you're okay with where things are at, or that you're happy when you're not, or that you're fulfilled when you're not. And I feel like it's been a very draining experience for you, because again, I feel like you really want this to work, and you're trying to do everything in your power to make it work, or have been. This could be something that has taken place in the past, but and that's why, remember to take it as it resonates. But I do feel as if it's starting to really affect you, because it's required you to kind of put aside your needs and what it is that you really want out of this connection in order to make it work. And I think that that's where a lot of the confusion really comes from, is you're like, well, I've been putting so much into this, like I'm willing to do anything that I can to make it work. Like if you truly loved me, like you would be willing to do those things too. But we have to remember that somebody can love us but not know how to love us well. And I think that that's where things get really tricky in relationships, is a lot of times we set this standard where it's like, oh, I just, I want to be loved by someone, which is important, absolutely. But you not only should set the standard of just being loved by someone, but the people in your life, whether it's romantic or otherwise, should not just love you, but do what it takes to love you well. Return the effort that you're putting into your connections. But that was a lot just for the first three cards. So let's keep going. This person's energy toward you, Taurus. What does Taurus need to know about the person that they're dealing with's energy toward them? Wild card. Fate. Love. Love is the underlying here, the underlying energy. What I heard when I was shuffling was good intentions, poor execution. I do feel like this person cares about you, but I feel like their way of showing it is so not, it's so backwards. It's like their actions don't match their feelings in some way, especially with this wild card energy. I feel like you're like, I don't really ever know where they stand or what they want or really what's going on, which again can really add to this confusion. Now, this fate card to me tells me that this person is really stuck in their own personal cycles when it comes to love. I've always said that I believe we have a fate and then we have a destiny, and our fate can be the cycles that we acquire throughout our life, and our destiny is our ability to break out of those cycles. So what I mean by that is our cycles in love and in life tend to be a product of lack of healing. As we heal, as we grow, as we evolve, we start to break out of old patterns, old behaviors, old beliefs, old cycles, and we start to adopt new ones. So a lot of times when you're dealing with someone who is unhealed, it's really hard because you see that potential in them and you see everything that the connection could be, but yet their behavior is a pattern of their protective cycles, which it's like you have empathy for those, right? Because you're like, well, this person had a really hard life, or they've been through a lot, or they have this trauma or whatever, and it's like you understand maybe why they push you away or why they act the way that they do or whatever the case might be. That's where that kind of codependency comes into play, because it's like you can't really take responsibility for someone else's healing, and we have to remember that loving somebody unconditionally is not unconditional tolerance of their behavior. You still have to have a certain standard for how you deserve to be treated. And I think that I do feel like this person has good intentions. Like, I don't feel like they're a bad person. I don't necessarily even feel like they mean to hurt you or they mean to cause chaos or confusion in the connection. I just feel as if they're kind of stuck in patterns and behaviors and in cycles that keep them from being able to fully show up for this love that I do feel like they have for this connection. Truth of the connection between Taurus and this person. Truth of the connection between Taurus and this person. Passion. I took this one, but I don't feel like I was supposed to. What else do we have here? Truth of the connection. So there's a lot of chemistry here, a lot of passion. There's a lot of potential. And then you have mirroring. Ooh, yeah. This is one of those connections. And what I really mean by that is one of those connections that you are very drawn to for a lot of different reasons, especially on like a chemical level. There's a huge draw, but then there's also a lot of triggering. The mirroring aspect of this connection, I feel like, is very strong. Maybe they mirror back to you certain triggers or certain insecurities that you have. This definitely lays out the kind of dynamic that we find when we believe that we have met a twin flame, or when we believe that we've met someone that we have like a deeper soul connection to. And I feel like that is kind of what you're experiencing this connection is. It's like, I know that there's so much here. It's like you feel the love, you feel the chemistry, you feel those emotions and that draw toward this person, but it feels like there's this inability to bring it to the surface, to be able to manifest it, like call it in the 3D or like in the physical realm. It's like it's there and it's underlying and it's strong and both people feel it, but it's like it doesn't really seem to evolve into anything more than wherever this connection is currently stuck. And I feel like that has a lot to do with what this connection is trying to teach you, because every connection that we have with any person, anyone, whether it's romantic or otherwise, is always mirroring back something about ourselves. But sometimes we meet these people, and I will say, I think everybody meets at least one person in their life that seems to really mirror back like those deep, deep things. And those connections can become really complicated really fast, because you're talking about, you know, both people experiencing the like triggering of their past wounds or their past traumas, or you know, struggling to really face the deeper parts of themselves. Like when these connections force you to do that, they force you to face the things that you've buried, or the things that you've tried to kind of like put into a little corner of your mind and not think about. But the purpose is always deeper healing, and it always takes you so much further in life than if you hadn't have met the person. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot to the kind of the truth, the deeper purpose for sure. But let's get the overall theme before we dive into tarot. Overall theme of this reading for Taurus, please. I just realized that I grabbed a different deck for the overall theme than I did in the first two readings. I mean, there must be a reason for that. Okay, overall theme of this reading for Taurus. I was using my like romance angels deck, but for some reason today I just, or for this reading, I just intuitively grabbed this one. You have karmic with miscommunication. So there is something very karmic going on here. I feel like and I felt, I was going to say this, but I didn't see a card clarifying that, so I didn't want to assume. But I feel like the communication in this connection is pretty frustrating. I think that that's a good way to put that. It might be one of those things where like you try to have a calm, rational conversation with them, and then it's just like all of a sudden you guys are fighting. It's like, it just feels like and I think that comes from this like mirroring energy of, I don't know, it's just like you have this tendency to really just poke at the other person. Not like you in particular, both people have this tendency to just kind of like bring out, I don't want to say bring out the worst in each other, because I don't necessarily feel like it's all bad, but I do definitely feel like the triggering of the shadow is very strong in this connection. And, you know, a lot of times in type connections like this, there's a karmic cycle that exists where it's, you know, kind of waiting on the other person to change or grow or heal or evolve, and kind of getting frustrated and hurt when they don't. And I think that can keep us stuck in a painful kind of existence within the connection for a while. But let's dive into the story. Let's get a little bit deeper here. This is for Taurus's side of this connection: confusion, codependency. Now, codependency is a dynamic that I will always encourage anyone to do some research on, take a look at, and see if you kind of fit the description of, because, you know, for a long time I didn't realize that I was very codependent in all of my connections, and I kept getting really frustrated at why it was like my connections all kind of had this exact same pattern, and I couldn't figure out why they were happening the way that they were, and I kind of needed to address my own understanding of relationship dynamics to really fix my relationships in the end of the day. So I am not a licensed therapist. I've never claimed to be, but I do recommend kind of working through some of those things with a mental health professional if you do find yourself, you know, experiencing those kinds of dynamics, which are so incredibly common. But let's see here. This is for Taurus's side of this connection. The Fool. So you're wanting a new beginning here. I feel like you're wanting things to get to a certain level. It's like you're not happy with where things are, but I feel like you also don't want to lose this person, which again, I completely understand. You could be dealing with a water sign. You have this King of Cups energy. But I also feel as if this is kind of signaling this kind of emotional intelligence kind of energy. It feels as if you are the one in this connection that is a little bit more maybe emotionally intelligent than the person that you're dealing with. So that might be hard for you too, because again, I feel like you have a lot of empathy and understanding for this person and where they're at and why they're acting the way that they are. Sun, World. That's a lot of major arcana cards. Is there anything else? So there's the cycle. Hang on, I'm going to go back to what I was saying in just a second. Anything else? Yeah, okay. 4 of Cups in reverse. Tower in reverse. Okay. So I think what's hard, like I look at this Fool and I look at this Sun card, and I see that there is a lot of good in this connection. I feel like again, and I said this in the beginning, I don't think that this is all bad. Because if it were, I feel like you wouldn't be having such a hard time with it. Because if it were all bad, you'd be like, screw this. I don't want anything to do with this. But I do feel like with this Passion card, there are a lot of times where things feel really good. And maybe even in the past, there were times where things were good. And I feel like your desire is to kind of get to this place where there's stability in this connection, and maybe even like almost a little bit of just predictability, especially because this person is so all over the place, is kind of what I gather from this wild card energy. Like, I don't feel like you're asking for much in this connection. I don't think that you're like asking that this person be perfect or anything like that. But I do definitely feel like there is, like, you have a certain level of emotional intelligence or emotional availability that this person doesn't seem to be matching. And I think that you're hoping, and I feel like you, again, going back to kind of that underlying draw that you and this person have toward each other, I feel like you do see and feel as if things could be so good if this person, I don't know, would break out of their own cycles in a way. But it feels like what's happening is you're getting caught waiting for things to change and trying to read into this person's behavior and trying to understand their actions and trying to, figure out why they're doing the things that they're doing and why they're not doing the things you want them to do. And I feel like you're starting to, or maybe, I mean, we all have a tendency to do this, but maybe you have a tendency to take that personally and wonder, like, why you're not enough. Why am I not enough for this person to change? Or why am I not enough for this person to treat me better? Or why am I not enough for this person to make healthier decisions, or whatever the case is? And I've said this so many times in readings in the past, and I will always, always, always say it again. How somebody treats us is a reflection of them, not us. And how other people treat us is typically a reflection of how they treat themselves. So if someone doesn't value us, they don't value themselves. If someone's not loving us appropriately, they don't know how to love themselves appropriately. And we really, really have to learn to disconnect our worth from how somebody perceives it and treats it. And I think that that's the hardest thing when it comes to relationships, is especially if you've been taught that your worth is dependent on how much somebody else sees it or how much somebody else values you, then you will always feel as if you're not good enough for the people that don't value you. And what happens in that way is we tend to actually, if you struggle with this kind of dynamic, you tend to actually be more drawn to people that don't treat you well because you're looking for a resolution to this lack of value that you felt. The number one way that childhood trauma shows up in our relationships, I've read this. I lied. I didn't read it. I saw it in a video that it was some psychologist, don't remember his name, but was talking about this. And he said that he was talking about how the number one way he tends to see childhood trauma showing up in relationships is by trying to get difficult people to love us well. So when somebody is challenging our worth, we have this tendency to try to prove that we are worthy and that we're deserving of love when we've experienced the lack of it. And I think that in this connection in particular, you have so much love to give here, Taurus. I mean, I can see it just in general from like the stance that you're taking in this connection and the commitment that I feel like you've had to making this work. I feel like you have so much love to give, but I feel like there's a part of you that's maybe wondering if you're worthy enough of receiving all that you have to give, because you have a tendency to attract or be attracted to people who make you feel less than what it is that your value truly is. And I think that there's a need to really look at that deeper dynamic, and I feel like that's where this mirroring really comes in. I feel like this person brings to the surface these insecurities or these fears or these limiting beliefs about who you are and what you're capable of experiencing in love. And it has less to do about this person and more to do about what this connection is really trying to show you. Because I feel like at the end of the day, what you desire and love, you can absolutely have, but we have to learn to look for it in people that are capable of it. And a lot of times when we struggle to believe that we can have the love that we truly desire, we actually will attract people that are not capable of loving us well. So they won't love us well, and we'll start to look at it as a reflection of our worth, when in reality, they might literally not be capable of it. Like, people can only love other people to the extent they love themselves. They can only meet you where they've met themselves. And if someone isn't doing the growth or the healing to meet themselves or to mature emotionally, they're not going to be able to do the things that you desire and require in your relationships. And that has nothing to do with you. And I feel like that's what I kind of get from this person. Like, they're all over the place. They're kind of stuck in their own cycles. And it just doesn't have anything to do with you when it comes to what you do truly deserve. But let's get more. This person's energy toward Taurus, please. Because remember, there's something karmic going on here. And I will say karmic connections or karmic cycles are, I would even go as far as to say, some of the most painful experiences in relationships. But they're also the ones that, if we're willing to learn from them, heal from them, grow from them, they can teach us more about ourselves and how love really works, and lead us closer to the love that we do truly desire. So I want you to look at this not from this perspective of I can't have the love that I want, but from this perspective of I'm still learning how to, love myself well enough to attract the love that I want. And I think that the more that we look at it that way, the less it feels like it's this, definite thing that's happening to us, especially when we kind of are in cycles of people not treating us well or not loving us well. We can start to believe that we're never going to have it. But anyway, okay, this person's energy toward Taurus, you have wild card with fate. This person's, oh gosh, okay. First two, there's so many major arcanas. Chariot, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? This is the wrong deck. Was I supposed to use it? I'm gonna take these back. I'm gonna take these back. You have the Strength in the reverse and the Chariot in reverse, and that definitely tells a story. And it's funny because I feel like your energies are so like similar in a way. And not in the sense that like I feel like you act like this person or that your behavior is the same, but it feels as if you guys kind of mirror similar wounds almost, whether it's like childhood wounding or just wounding, like relationship wounding in general. I'm not sure, but we're switching decks here. So let's see this person's energy. Look at that King of Cups on the bottom of the deck. This person's energy toward Taurus. What does Taurus need to know about this person's energy toward them? All right. Gonna laugh at the Strength in reverse or Chariot in reverse comes out. This person's energy toward Taurus, please. Five of Wands, Emperor in reverse. Ooh. The Death. I'm gonna keep pulling though. Five of Wands, Emperor in reverse. This person's very conflicted. It's like they don't know what they want, yet at the same time they know exactly what they want. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Emperor reverse. We already talked about that. Page of Cups in reverse. Hangman. Upright. Still a lot of major arcanas. There's the Sun. See, they see the good in this too. And I feel like that's where a lot of your confusion comes from, is you're like, how can you not, like, you feel it too, because I feel like there is kind of this deeper, maybe it's almost an unspoken connection between the two of you. But again, it's like this person knows what they want, but they don't really know what they want. I feel like what it actually is this person knows what they want, but they're afraid of it, like afraid of letting it in, that it's almost like finding reasons to push it away, or finding excuses to keep it at a distance, or finding like, and it's not you. It's like this would happen with anyone who would require, because there is such a strong connection here, right? So if this person is struggling with being able to let you in, or let, anyone in, anything that is strong, and it's like that they're so drawn to, and that brings out those feelings, they're going to be even more afraid of. It's like, not only do they struggle with letting people in, but then when something comes along and it's deeper, it requires them to go past that surface level connection, it's going to be even harder for them to let you in. I do feel like, Page of Cups in reverse definitely represents emotional unavailability here. I feel like this person is very closed off. And I think that's what's hard, is probably not all the time. In fact, I feel like there are probably times, like with this passion card and with kind of that sun happening on both sides, like I feel like there are probably times where they are very warm and they are very open and things are very good. And it's almost like what happens is that feeling is like terrifying for them. So they withdraw, they close off, because the Emperor in reverse is all about control. It's because when it comes to creating a healthy, sustainable connection, it requires complete surrender. It requires letting go of control, letting go of your need to protect yourself, and allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to be open, right? To truly trust the other person so you can grow together and create that foundation together. But when you're dealing with somebody that struggles to trust, or struggles to believe even that they could be loved in the way that they deserve and desire, instead of opening up and kind of surrendering to the connection, letting you in, being vulnerable and creating that common connection there, they're going to do everything they can to not have to do that. And so whenever it feels like maybe they do that, like when things are good, they are vulnerable, the connection's warm, maybe and I feel like what happens is they immediately go, oh my gosh, that's too scary, I don't know how to handle this, and they push you away, and they start to control. Maybe there's self-sabotage, maybe there's distance, ghosting, I don't know, but I feel like that's what this wild card behavior is all about. It's like going from being super present and super engaged one moment to just the next, like completely, you're like, where the hell did they go? Like, what happened? And I think that the hardest part is understanding that their behavior has nothing to do with you. That is absolutely, because the Five of Wands to me represents like a war within themselves. It's like there's this desire, yet they're pushing it away. There's what they want, but then their behavior is the complete opposite, because it's interesting, and something that I've really just am blown away about when it comes to psychology of humans is how we actually have a tendency to prefer the lack of love and abundance that we're used to, and we are actually very afraid of the love and abundance that we desire, because it's outside of our comfort zone and the realm of what we are used to experiencing, and our ego absolutely hates what it's not used to. So when you're dealing with someone who has never been loved well, and I say this across the board, for maybe this message can resonate with you and for them, when you are not used to being loved well, you will get so comfortable with that lack of love that you will either seek it in people, or you will push it away from people. You will seek it in people who don't give it to you, or you will push it away from people who do. And that's typically the dynamics that come out in my readings, is you're kind of dealing with one person who's looking for it and someone who isn't capable of it because they're pushing it away. The mirroring that's happening is, I feel like both people have that underlying belief or fear that they are not lovable or capable of being loved or experiencing the love that they do truly desire. That fear is mirrored in both of you. And I feel like that's why you have a lot of empathy for why they behave the way that they do and why they act the way they do in this connection. Because I feel like you're like, well, I get it. I get what it's like to feel that way. I get what it's like to have that wound. I get what it's like to not trust. I get what it's like to, fear that. But you're like, but I'm here for you. I'm here to love you. I'm here to, if I love you enough, maybe you can love yourself enough, then you can love me. And we start to, again, that's where the codependency comes in. We start to take responsibility and accountability for somebody else's journey. The best thing that we can do is to allow people to show up as they do naturally, and decide for ourselves like whether or not that's enough for us. But we have to be willing to let go of the need to change someone, fix someone, heal someone. because we have to learn that our ability to be loved well is not dependent on that. There are people out there that will love you better than you've ever been loved before, and maybe it is this person, but you shouldn't feel like you need to pour your heart, mind, and soul into somebody who is constantly giving you mixed signals. And I feel like that's what this comes down to. It's mixed signals. I feel like you're sure one day and the next you're like, I don't freaking know. I don't know where they're at. I don't know what they're thinking. And that back and forth, that wishy-washy, that pull, push and pull can get so incredibly, it can be so damaging to our self-worth because we're trying, you start reading into it and going, well, what did I do wrong? Or why, what did I do the last time that we met that has them being distant now? When in reality, it's that this connection, I feel like, is just scary to them and they don't know how to handle it. So in between this connection, you have mirroring with passion. We're going to hop on over to the extended, dive deeper into this reading, looking at the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Thank you so much, Taurus, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. Bye, Taurus.